So good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So we are about to start this session. The PDF for today's session has already been uploaded on our Telegram group. You can download the PDF from there. The PDF for today's session has already been uploaded. You can download the PDF. So we are here about to start. Just give me a minute. The PDF for today's session has been uploaded on our Telegram group. You can download the PDF. We will be starting this session in another 1 minute as we have to wait for others to get connected with us. So people are still joining. Yamandeep, Vicky, Gautam, Mahi, Kaveri, Nandini, Sakshi, good morning. Good morning everyone. RJ, good morning. So you guys are getting notifications or not? Jyoti, good morning. So you are getting notifications, or you by yourself have joined this particular session at this time? Tanu, good morning. So I would like to tell you that we have started with the public administration course. Okay, so you can ask for the demos. Anyways, let's start the session without wasting much time. Let's see what exactly is there in today's newspaper. But before that, let's cover up this particular, you can say, quotation by Dalai Lama. Okay, so here Dalai Lama says that happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from one's own action. Happiness is not ready-made. It comes from your own actions. So this is very important in our life, that we need to move towards right path, and our behavior, our actions should also be right. And that is important for your happiness. Now first of all, you need to understand one thing. Each one of us can define happiness in their own way. Okay, for us happiness can be like, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. You can be happy for a thing, and other person might not be happy for the same thing. It can be there. Okay, now in this scenario, what is most important is that whether your actions, is it going to develop happiness for others, or you are guided by the selfish goal to accumulate wealth and just think about yourself, कि आप सिर्फ अपने बारे में बात करोगे, दूसरों के बारे में बात नहीं करोगे. Okay, you will just think about yourself, you will not care about others. Will it be the happiness for you? And if that's the happiness for you, then I have to say that it is for a temporary period. You cannot continue it. आप उसको continue नहीं कर पाओगे, उसको continue करना possible नहीं होगा. It will be for a temporary period. Okay, this idea is really important. This idea is really important, that our actions should bring happiness to others as well. Your action should bring happiness to others. Otherwise, your happiness will be temporary, the impact will be less. Okay. So whatever actions that we take in our life, we have to make sure that it should be favorable for all, so that we can facilitate happiness in the humanity. Larger thought process के साथ आपको आगे चलना चाहिए. Now, what needs to be happiness for you? So here, Gandhian talisman is the, you can say, way out. Okay, Gandhian talisman. Now, Gandhian talisman says that Gandhiji said that while taking an action, think about the poorest section on the society. Okay, think about the poorest section of the society. Think about them. What impact your actions can bring on them, that should define your happiness. If your actions are going to be fruitful for the others, specifically the vulnerable sections of the society, then definitely your move is right. Whatever you are saying is right. आपका move एकदम correct है. आप सही रास्ते पे जा रहे हो, and there will be no problem with that particular path. Okay. But first you have to think about the poorest section. सबसे पहले वो सोचना जरूरी है. This is what Mahatma Gandhi said, and this is what Dalai Lama is saying, that happiness is not something that is ready made. It comes from your own action, your own deeds. आपके खुद के कर्म हैं जो आपको happiness दे के जाएंगे. So this is really very important to understand this thing in our life. We are the creation of our own. Whether you are happy or sad, आप खुद ही जिम्मेदार हो. No one else is responsible. You need to have this mental strength that external factors, they should not impact you too much. अगर कोई आपको problem create कर रहा है, so those external factors should not impact you too much. That strength you need to have in your mind. आपका mind उतना strong होना चाहिए कि बाहर कोई कुछ भी करता रहे. देखो, you will go to any institute, you will go to any, you can say, organization, there will be politics in that. There will be few people who are not hardworking, and they will do politics and all these things, चलाकियां करते हैं, and the point is this, it is all useless. It is all useless. You need to have that internal strength within yourself, okay, to 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 ignore it, because you will be wasting your time. You will be wasting your time, the same time you will be using to develop yourself. आप अपने लिए काम कर सकते हो. Okay, so this is what should be there in your mind, and you need to have this larger goal in your mind, that you have to serve the humanity. If you have this larger goal in your mind that you have to serve the humanity, automatically your thought process will improve, your personality will be molded in that way. चीजें खुद ब खुद हो जाएंगी. ठीक है ना? So in whatever institute, in whatever organizations you are working with, there is no problem. You need to work on yourself, build your strength in such a way that those chalakia and the politics thing doesn't have impact on you. So this, it should be clear in your mind. Okay, so let's move to the next part, that is the news analysis today. So other people have already joined us. Okay, so Mandeep, RJ, Jyoti, Tanu, Kirti, Rohit, Nema, Nisar, Mohit, Ajay, good morning. So let's start the detailed analysis for today. So as you can see on the screen, so this is the first news. Can promise of irrational poll freebies be curbed? This is what Supreme Court is asking from the government. कि freebies को क्या हम बंद कर सकते हैं? See, you need to understand there are two point of views. Okay, इस चीज को लेके दो point of view हैं आपके. ठीक है ना? So two point of view in the sense, one view will say, एक view कहेगा that okay, freebies is fine, because if you are giving refrigerator, TV, etc. to someone, then it will raise their standard of living. Even if you are giving subsidized electricity, it will contribute to increasing their standard of living. There is a parallel view which will say that it might develop into bribery, that you are bribing the voters. You are bribing the voters. So these two views have to be considered in our mind. Now, the provision that is existing at present, this debate is going on because freebies and all, they do influence the electoral outcome. And we know that politicians, they make irrational promises. Okay, irrational promises. So Mandeep Kaur is suggesting that freebies can make people more lame if speak about negative. Yes, absolutely right. They will make them dependents. Okay, they will make them dependents. And I would like to say that freebies are of different types. So suppose loan waiver. Okay, now loan waiver, it's also a freebies that are announced during the poll years. जिस साल इलेक्शन होता है उस साल लोन माफ कर दिया जाता है. So that is also a problematic thing. Okay, so this is how we need to consider these two views. Now there is a debate going on in the Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court has orally asked the गवर्नमेंट दैट ओके व्हाट शुड बी डन विद द फ्रीबीज. अब इन्होंने पूछा है कि बताइए फ्रीबीज के साथ क्या करना चाहिए, बिकॉज अर्लियर एज वेल, नाउ दिस इज नॉट द फर्स्ट टाइम. ओके, this is not the first time this debate has started. Multiple times, you can say even the second administrative reform commission have pointed out about it. Earlier finance commissions have also pointed out about it. So even this finance commission, they have pointed out about these things, that in the election process we need to curb the irrational freebies. Irrational freebies जो है उन्हें हमें हटाना चाहिए. Okay, now you need to understand, we need to take it in two different ways. Okay, so Bihar, we have this example where bicycles were distributed to girls. Okay, so students, girls, to them bicycles were distributed. Now it developed into enhancement in their education level, as by using the bicycle they could travel to the longer distance. Okay, longer distance तक जो है वो जा सकेंगी और उसके बाद जो है वो अपना क्या कहते हैं पढ़ाई को कंटिन्यू कर पाएंगी. ओके, सो एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑफ द स्कूल एंड ऑल, इट ऑल्सो इम्प्रूव्स. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो वन एग्जाम्पल वेयर फ्री बीज हैव समहाउ फैसिलिटेटेड द पीपल. अच्छा यूज हुआ है इसका, तो ये चीज हमें ध्यान रखनी है. ठीक है ना. सो एट प्रेजेंट जस्टिस Ramanna, he is pointing towards these freebies politics in a quite serious manner, and they did ask for the reviews by even the Election Commission of India. Now, Election Commission of India is taking up a hands-off approach. It is not entering into the debate. Election Commission is saying that whether such policies are financially viable or not, or have any adverse effect on the economic health, it is for the voter to decide. भाई ये वोटर डिसाइड करेंगे कि इस पॉलिसी से फायदा होगा कि नुकसान होगा. इट मीन्स दैट इलेक्शन कमीशन इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन इट. ओके, तो इलेक्शन कमीशन तो आपका यहाँ पे पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर रहा है. सो दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. अब इलेक्शन कमीशन पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर रहा, बताओ. ओके, दिस इज द इक्वेशन, दिस इज द इक्वेशन हियर. सो दिस थिंग वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. Now, Manpreet is saying, sir, these things really affect the democratic system. Yes, they do. Because on what basis you are participating in the elections? किस बेस पे इलेक्शन में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हो? ओके, आर यू केयरिंग अबाउट योर लार्जर इश्यूज दैट आर देयर, और दिस freebies, is it the solution? Is it the solution? If freebies are provided to the people, I am saying that the problems will remain intact. तो प्रॉब्लम तो एज इट इज रहेगी आपकी. इट विल बी जस्ट फॉर अ फ्यू मूवमेंट, फ्यू डेज आपको इसका बेनिफिट लगेगा. लेटर ऑन it will turn out to be useless. Okay, in the long run it is quite useless. So this is what we have to keep it in mind. Absolutely temporary and tempting. Okay, so this is what it was about. Now there is another news. Spurious liquor claims 36 lives in dry state Gujarat. Okay, so this is not the first incident that is happening in this country. Many times this hooch tragedy has taken place. अब इसको बोलते हैं hooch tragedy. Okay, तो इफ आई यूज द हिंदी टर्म, इट्स अ कच्ची शराब. ठीक है ना, इट्स अ कच्ची शराब. सो देर आर सम फैक्ट्स दैट आर एसोसिएटेड विद दिस. so means like every year in India 5 billion liter alcohol is consumed, and 40% is illegally produced. Now this is really alarming. This is really alarming, and specifically this particular hooch is popular in states where liquor is banned, where liquor is not available. So there are some factors because of which which is quite popular, क्यों लोग कच्ची शराब पीते हैं? So one is this, it is cheap, locally available, okay, and in rural parts of India it is quite common as well. Now the point is this, the problematic element or the chemical is the methanol. Sellers often add methanol in it, which makes the alcohol toxic. Okay, this toxicity basically comes from methanol, which results in blindness, tissue damage, or even can lead to death. ब्लाइंडनेस होती है, टिश्यू डैमेज होता है और डेथ भी हो सकती है. सो दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ठीक है ना, हाईली टॉक्सिक होता है ये. तो ये चीजें जो है ये आपको थोड़ी बहुत समझनी है कि पूरे पीछे मामला क्या है. नाउ दिस ऑल कंटेंट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर एंड रेलेवेंट फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स. यू कैन नोट इट डाउन फ्रॉम योर प्रीलिम्स perspective. Okay, so we'll move to the next news which is there now. Here we have this news. Okay, so Russia to leave international space station and build their own space station. Okay, this is the new development. Other than that there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है. Directly we'll go to the एडिटोरियल सेक्शन. सीधा एडिटोरियल सेक्शन पे चलते हैं, देखते हैं क्या है एडिटोरियल सेक्शन पे. ओके, सो हियर वी हैव दिस एडिटोरियल इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. नाउ दिस एडिटोरियल इज अबाउट हुज जीडीपी इज इट एनीवे. So the point is this, whenever we talk about progress of a country, okay, we put emphasis on GDP, but putting up emphasis on GDP, is it going to make any difference to the lives of the people? आपकी जिंदगी में क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है? ओके, क्या वाकई जीडीपी नंबर बढ़ने से आपकी लाइफ इंप्रूव होती है? कैन वी से इट विद अश्योरिटी दैट इफ जीडीपी इज इंक्रीजिंग, कैन वी से इट विद अश्योरिटी दैट you will be benefited out of it? Okay, that there will be employment with the increase in GDP. Can you say it with authority? क्या आप वाकई बोल सकते हो इस चीज को? So it is certainly not. Now you need to understand one thing. Between 2000 and 2010, we say that India experienced nearly 9 to 10% of the growth rate, but that was jobless growth. That was jobless growth. The pace at which people are entering the job market, okay, जिस पेस पे लोग जॉब मार्केट में एंटर हो रहे हैं, it is not, you can say the present GDP growth is not able to address those people. सबको नौकरियां नहीं मिल रही हैं. This is the point you have to understand. This is the major point you have to understand. So this editorial is basically talking about it, that we should not have too much obsession with the GDP. Think about other parameters as well, whether it is developing into employment or not. क्या वाकई employment हो रहा है आपके यहाँ पे? Think about it. Okay, this is what this editorial is pointing towards. So they are saying that at present political leaders, specifically our leaders, they are too enthusiastic about the GDP numbers, and government of India will boost about the GDP. Okay, हमारी सरकार तो वाकई खुश होकर बोलती है कि हमारा GDP number इतना हो गया. There will be chest thumping this and that we are about to turn say 3.5 trillion economy. But I am saying that is it creating jobs in your country? क्या वाकई आपकी कंट्री के अंदर नौकरियां पैदा हो रही हैं? Certainly not. Okay, that's the point. We do say that we are heading towards, means we have this demographic dividend. अरे demographic dividend के लिए आप jobs provide कर रहे हो क्या? So this is the point you have to understand, that we are focusing too much on the GDP number. Okay, too much on the GDP number. And the point is this, the present GDP number is not developing into high quality formal jobs. So in India at present contractual jobs are quite popular. Contract पे सारा देश चल रहा है. Contractual jobs, they are quite popular. Now when you are not able to provide high quality formal sector jobs that ensures dignity of work, good income and job security to the people, okay, कैसे बात आगे बढ़ेगी? Can we say that this GDP growth, it is just an eyewash? In reality, it is just an eyewash. Okay. So people are more concerned about their life. They are more concerned about their jobs. They will not be, you can say, interested too much in the GDP growth. आम जनता को जीडीपी से कोई लेना देना नहीं होता. It's just a number for them. Okay. So you, me, we are part of this UPSC journey and we can understand the gravity of these things. But the normal people, for them, it is just a number. They know, everyone is not reading the Hindu. Okay. And every newspaper is not, you can say, covering these things in detail. हर जगह नहीं हो रहा है ये सब. कोई bother भी नहीं करता ज़्यादा. Okay. But here there is some reality that number of new jobs generated for every percentage of GDP growth fell even further. So here it is talking about the present scenario. ये हो रहा है आज की डेट में. So your GDP number might be appearing to increasing, but it is not developing into jobs. That's the reality. Okay, that's the reality. And as Mandeep is saying that people are not addressing the real problems. उनका ध्यान हटा दिया जाता है. कोई भी जॉब डिमांड नहीं कर रहा है इस देश के अंदर. This is the reality. Okay. So it is amply clear that formal sector jobs and GDP, like their link has weakened considerably. So GDP growth may be increasing, but your jobs are not increasing. That's the reality. And the Nobel laureate Simon Kuznets, even he said about same thing, that okay, GDP as a measure of economic performance you can take, ठीक है, ले लो आप, but don't go with the single-minded mindset that this is everything, that you make your policy, all the policy आप सिर्फ GDP number पे बना रहे हो. No, it is not the right approach. You need to come out with the other way outs. Okay, you need to make sure that your policies are inclusive, your policies facilitate job creation, your policy facilitate schools, education, etc, etc, etc. Those things are also equally important. We cannot just outrightly focus on the GDP number. And this excessive obsession over the GDP growth in the policymakers, it is unhealthy and dangerous in democracy, because it can facilitate inequality. Look what happened during the lockdown. Rich became richer. Rich became further richer. Their wealth was increasing. But it was the migrant and the poor who were on street. वो तो सड़क पे धक्के खा रहे थे. So ये reality है आज की डेट में. ठीक है ना? We need to understand this thing. So if the growth in GDP does not translate into equivalent economic prosperity for average person, then in a one person one vote democracy it can backfire. अगर आप सिर्फ GDP के ऊपर फोकस कर रहे हो and it is not translating into benefits for the society, then it will backfire. Look what happened in Sri Lanka. People were on street. So it can also happen in Indian context as well. So this is what this editorial was pointing towards, that we need to focus upon other areas as well. Otherwise what will happen? Inequality will further increase, rich will become richer, and this is not good for the democratic health of the nation. Okay, this is what the whole point is about. So we'll move to the next editorial. Next editorial is about the recent move by the United States. Okay, so right now US is again exploring its role in West Asia. See, you need to understand, before coming out with this editorial, there is a backward link you have to understand. पीछे की कहानी है जो आपको यहाँ पे समझनी होगी. Okay, so what happened after the shale gas discovery in US? Shale gas was discovered in US. Okay. Now, as shale gas was discovered in US, it means that US was not dependent on West Asia, okay, for its fuel requirement. अपनी एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी के लिए यूएस को अब वेस्ट एशिया की जरूरत नहीं थी. This is one part you have to understand. Later on, there was another development that China was creating problem in the Pacific. So US reduced its focus, okay, from West Asia and started concentrating on Pacific. This is the new development. But here with this visit, things might change further, as it may appear that US might be again back in the West Asian politics, कि वापस यूएस यहाँ पे वेस्ट एशियन पॉलिटिक्स के अंदर आ जाए. What are the reasons? Specifically, the Russia-Ukraine war. Because right now, what is happening, the whole of Europe, which was dependent on Russia, they need alternative. They need alternative suppliers of gas. Okay. And for that, definitely it will be only possible if they reach out to the West Asian countries, और US आज यहाँ पे ये help करने आया है. So this is what this editorial is pointing towards. Every US president, he has to deal with some tough things. Okay, tough in the sense, Israel-Palestine conflict is still hot in the Arab world, in the West Asian world. Iran, what will be the future of Iran? There is no uncertainty about it. Okay, whether Iran will be giving up its nuclear weapon program and it will be entering the global power politics, we have to wait and watch. ये देखना पड़ेगा कि क्या यहाँ पे होता है, ठीक है ना. So ये अब US explore कर रहा है. So that's why they are engaging with Saudi Arabia, and the reason of Ukraine-Russia war is definitely there, because they need a supplier, energy supplier. Otherwise, Europe is going to fall, means there will be very difficult winters that are coming. Winters are about to come in Europe. Okay, they will require gas to large extent, and Russia is not providing it, and Europe is not buying it from Russia either. Okay, so this is the scenario that is taking place right now. ये चीज समझनी जरूरी है. Now, one thing is this: two developments from Biden's visit could result in positive externalities for the region. One thing is that Saudi airspace may be opened for Israel as a goodwill gesture. Okay, ये भी possible हो सकता है कि सऊदी अरब अपने एयर स्पेस को अलाउ करेगा इजराइल रिलेटेड फ्लाइट्स के लिए. This is one development. Other is related to the ceasefire that is being explored in Yemen, and they can talk about rebuilding Yemen, redevelopment of Yemen. That's the other debate that will start. So these are the positive developments with the US leader visiting the West Asia. तो ये तो फायदेमंद चीज है जो यहाँ पे हो रही है. We need to encourage these things if peace is prevailing. Okay. Now, other top priority for Biden is the energy supply to the European allies. Specifically, at present, there are chances that Russia may cut off the energy supply to European nations, specifically in the winters, to teach them a lesson. And this is the reason why Americans are looking for alternate suppliers. Okay, so यूरोप को जैसे कैसे करके थोड़ी हेल्प करना ये आज की डेट में जरूरी है, ठीक है ना. एंड ऑलरेडी लाइक दीज वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज एंड यूरोपियन कंट्रीज, they have imposed sanctions on Russia. Now, if they keep on buying gas from Russia, those sanctions are automatically going to be meaningless. वो meaningless हो जाएंगे sanction जो लगे हैं. So from that angle as well, it is important that US is working here. Okay. So ये पूरा scenario है जो आज की डेट में यहाँ पे चल रहा है. Now there is another development in the region, that is I2U2 group. So India, Israel, UAE and US. So this group is also gaining the traction. Okay, so we have to see how things will progress. US might turn back in the West Asian politics. Okay, अब वो टाइम शायद आ गया कि US वापस आ जाएगा. So this is how it is. So we'll move to the next editorial, that is seeking to destroy India's civil society. So first of all, you need to understand why civil society is important for us. Now, civil society is going to ask questions. Okay, it is going to ask questions to the government, and this is the reason government dislikes, not the government dislikes, specifically the political class. Okay, they dislike the civil society, and they will try their level best to target the civil society. And there are quite two popular tools. One is Foreign Contribution Regulatory Management Act, okay, FRBM, FCRA, sorry, Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. And then you have Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So these two tools are quite regularly used by the okay the politicians, by the government, to target the NGOs and all. Now the point is this: it impacts the working of NGO, and NGOs are important in our governance. Okay, उनका बिल्कुल यहाँ पे काम impact होता है, and this is how the whole thing is. This is what the debate is about. So your government is suspicious of the working of these NGOs and the civil society leaders, and it was quite evident from the statements made by the leaders. Okay, so National Security Advisor, he said that next war is to be fight in civil society. कि perception in civil society is really important. Okay, and the policemen, they need to be prepared for this particular challenge. जो policemen है वो इसके लिए भी तैयार रहें. So this is how it is about. Okay, ये चीज यहाँ पे अजीत डोवाल ने बोली है. Now the point is this: we are in a country where regularly the incidence of minority target is increasing. Okay, your constitution might be giving the equal rights to the minority and the majority population, and your constitution promises to protect the minority as well, but things are not moving in that direction. चीजें कहीं ना कहीं गड़बड़ होती हुई नजर आ रही हैं. Okay, this is how thing is. Now it has been seen that FCRA and the PMLA, they are used to target organizations, okay, working with minority community, NGOs that are working with minority community. तो specifically उनको target किया गया है. Okay, it has been seen multiple times. It has been seen multiple times. ये बहुत बार देखा गया है. ठीक है ना? So that's why it is bit, you can say, alarming or undesirable. These developments are not good. ये चीजें ठीक नहीं है हमारी डेमोक्रेटिक हेल्थ के लिए. ओके, दिस इज व्हाट इट इज अबाउट. नाउ at present the FCRA clearance is required by the NGOs after every 5 years. हर 5 साल बाद FCRA का clearance लेना होता है. Okay, the point is this: there are incidents where licenses are not renewed. जो लाइसेंस है वो रिन्यू नहीं कर रही है आपकी सरकार. ओके, this is the major point here. This is how they are targeting. Now after the 2020 amendment, NGOs could spend less on administrative cost. So flexibility has further reduced. यहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं flexibility और कम कर दी है. And all NGOs are required to operate their foreign accounts through State Bank of India, located in Parliamentary Street in New Delhi. And through that, State Bank will keep track over how those funds are used. वो पैसा किस तरीके से यूज हो रहा है उसके ऊपर भी नजर रखी जा रही है. ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ द फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इज समहाउ रिड्यूसिंग एट द एंड ऑफ NGOs by these developments. Your finance minister, she announced that she may consider tax-free status to the domestic donations. Means at present, if you are donating to the NGOs, so no tax you have to pay on that. But she is saying that it can be withdrawn. आने वाले टाइम में इसे भी विड्रॉ करने का प्रोविजन हो सकता है. ओके, सो दिस इज नॉट राइट. दिस इज नॉट राइट. हाउ विल दीज NGOs वर्क इफ वी ब्रिंग सो मच restrictions on them? We know that Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it has been reimagined and the civil society leaders are targeted. How the Enforcement Directorate is used. Okay, Enforcement Directorate has wide ranging power. They can go and they can search anyone's house. किसी का घर जाके ये search कर सकते हैं. ED was used to attack NGO like Amnesty International. So these things are going on. ये चीजें आज की डेट में हो रही हैं and this is completely alarming. बहुत ज़्यादा alarming है. See, you need to understand there is a thing that you have to play here. Now government bureaucracy, okay, they might not be successful in implementing program. आपके कोई भी प्रोग्राम होते हैं वो सक्सेसफुली ब्यूरोक्रेसी इंप्लीमेंट नहीं कर पाती है. बट NGOs, they are able to do that. They are quite successful. They are quite acceptable within the society. Okay, लोग भी NGOs के साथ मिलके काम करना चाहते हैं. Even the beneficiaries, they are open to the NGO participation. बट हेयर इफ वी ब्रिंग रेस्ट्रिक्शंस, अगर इतनी ज्यादा रिस्ट्रिक्शन आ जाती हैं, हाउ विल वी फैसिलिटेट गवर्नेंस, तो गवर्नेंस किस तरीके से फैसिलिटेट होगा? दिस इज द मेजर पॉइंट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, एंड दिस इज नॉट द राइट थिंग दैट इज हैपनिंग एट प्रेजेंट. कहीं ना कहीं चीजें ठीक नहीं हो रही हैं. वी नीड टू इम्प्रूव these particular things, these developments, these questions are to be addressed here. Otherwise efficacies of the NGO will go down. आपके NGO उतने इफेक्टिव ही नहीं रहेंगे जितने पहले थे. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज अबाउट. सो विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. आगे चलते हैं. सो पावर टैरिफ रिविजन्स एंड द स्टेट ऑफ डिस्कॉम्स. ओके, so electricity distribution companies, they are not in good shape across the country. I am saying across the states electricity की हालत बहुत खराब है. Okay, why I am saying this? They are under debt. It is said that they are under the debt of rupees 90,000 crore. 9,000 करोड़ का उधार है हमारे यहाँ पे डिस्कॉम्स का. What is the reason? Reason is the populist policies that are followed. Okay, kahin na kahin populist policies, they are responsible for that. Okay, free electricity that we are giving, aapki electricity free ja rahi hai. So if the electricity is free, how will they invest in transmission improvement? सवाल ये होता है ना. आपके यहाँ पे जो तारे बिछी हुई हैं, they are old transmission system that is being placed. So if we are continuously providing free electricity, not charging anything, then how can we sustain the present infrastructure? The present infrastructure might require, you can say, repair work. How are we going to facilitate it? So ये प्रॉब्लम आज की डेट में हर जगह देखने को मिल रहा है. डिस्कॉम्स की हालत जो है वो बिल्कुल खराब है. एब्सोल्युटली राइट, इट इज अ टाइप ऑफ फ्री बीज, एक तरीके का फ्री बीज है यहाँ पे. ओके, this is what is happening. बिल्कुल Anusri is saying that NGO have a grassroots contact. Absolutely right. So this is what this particular news is pointing towards, that situation is not good. Okay, they are coming out with the example of Tamil Nadu, Generation and Distribution Corporation. Now this like Tamil Nadu Electricity Regulatory Commission proposed a hike of power tariff by 10% to 35%. As losses are increasing, loans are outstanding. Okay, and this is how the burden is increasing on a discom. So they are saying that we have to increase the tariff. Now Niti Aayog report says that nearly every year 90,000 crore, this is the estimated loss. This is the estimated loss of 90,000 crore. Okay, because we are subsidizing the tariff. हर जगह टैरिफ सब्सिडाइज हो रहा है, दिल्ली, पंजाब, हरियाणा. That's the situation right now. We need to periodically review the tariff. Increasing the tariff is important. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि आप throughout life tariff वैसा रखो. Okay, see, inflation is increasing. अगर inflation increase हो रहा है, then the buying of equipment and other things will also increase. Everything will be impacted. कोयला महंगा हो गया, but आपकी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आ गई तो महंगी हो नहीं रही है. Okay, this is not the way. So some burden have to be transferred to the यूजर. जो बेनिफिशियरी है उनके पास तक कुछ बर्डन तो आपको ट्रांसफर करना पड़ेगा. प्राइसेस हैव टू बी रिवाइज्ड. इफ नॉट, देन these discoms, they are ending up in a disaster. And it is not just the case of one state, multiple states this is how things are done. बहुत जगहों पे ऐसा चल रहा है. ठीक है ना, तो ये चीज समझना जरूरी है. एंड स्पेसिफिकली द रीजन फॉर दिस पुअर, यू कैन से, सिस्टम इज द पॉलिटिक्स. ओके, सो पॉलिटिक्स एक important factor है, populist politics. Because of the populism, your you can say leaders, they are not taking the decision. आपके leaders जो है वो decision नहीं लेते हैं. We have seen it. Okay, this is how the whole scenario is. So we'll move to the next news. So here there is nothing much, कुछ खास नहीं है. Here we have this news. Now Supreme Court to hear petition against the Election Commission's proceedings on real Shiv Sena. Okay, so this particular issue is still pending. पता नहीं चल रहा है कि real Shiv Sena कैसी है, कौन है. So this is a new type of problem that is emerging here. Indian politics में कुछ कुछ होता रहता है, and ये भी कुछ नया ही हो रहा है. Now CGI calls for practice of honest journalism. Okay, so CGI is saying something on media. See, you need to understand, media creates a lot of trouble. One is the yellow journalism. Okay, what is this yellow journalism? Means journalism of sensationalization, that you sensationalize everything. Okay, you play with the fear psychosis of the people. आप fear psychosis से साथ खेल रहे हो लोगों के. All these things are there. ये कुछ चीजें हैं जो बहुत खराब हैं, ठीक है ना. This is how things are. Okay, so Puducherry is also giving the free electricity. Okay, now sensationalizing, then there is a problem of ownership behind media. You don't know who is the real owner. Political parties, they also have the stake. Business houses, they also have the stake. Okay, now as business houses, political parties, they are having stake in the media. Definitely media will not criticize them. Media उनको criticize करेगा ही नहीं कभी भी. Okay, so this is what is going on right now. And these journalists that are there, they are not doing their work. They are just running after TRPs. Okay, so when TRP is your goal, not the rights of the people, then definitely it is going to be a disaster for the democratic setup. As someone has mentioned in the comment section, that it is the fourth pillar of democracy. Okay, it is the fourth pillar of democracy, and I would say that at present this fourth pillar is the weakest one. सबसे ज़्यादा वीक भी आज की डेट में मीडिया ही नज़र आता है. ओके, कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड, वीक. दिस इज़ हाउ द पॉइंट इज. ओके, दिस इज़ हाउ द पॉइंट इज. तो ये पॉइंट समझना ज़रूरी है, ठीक है ना. सो दैट वाज द थिंग. सो CGI इज आस्किंग देम टू कम आउट विद द पॉजिटिव डेवलपमेंट, बट ज़रूरी नहीं है होगा. मीडिया को रेगुलेट करना भी आसान नहीं है. ओके, तो चीज़ें इतनी आसान नहीं होती कभी कभी. नाउ इंडिया एड्स 5 more Ramsar sites. ओके, नाउ दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम. सो ये आपके प्रीलिम्स के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. कैन बी पार्ट ऑफ योर, यू कैन से, नोट्स. सो यस, मिली भगत होती है, बिल्कुल मिली भगत होती है. सो 3 of these sites are from Tamil Nadu and 2 were from Mizoram and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, 5 new sites have been added. Now total number of sites that are there in India is 54. आज की डेट में 54 हो गई हैं. So these are the details. Karikili Bird Sanctuary, Palikarnai Marsh Reserve Forest and Pichavaram Mangroves. Now they are located in Tamil Nadu and they are now Ramsar sites. Okay, so each and every fact that we are discussing here, that is important. जो भी फैक्ट हम आज कर रहे हैं ये आज की डेट में बहुत ज़्यादा important है. Okay, so India's Ramsar wetlands are spread over 11,000 square kilometer, like around 10% of the wetland area in this country across 18 states. मतलब the point is this, only 10% of your wetland they are protected. Okay, वही सिर्फ protected हैं. This is one point here. No other South Asian country has the many sites as India has. At the global level, UK it has 175 Ramsar sites, सबसे number 1 है. Mexico it has 142. Okay, when it comes to largest area, it is Bolivia. Okay, Bolivia has the largest area under the Ramsar site. Okay, that is 1,48,000 square kilometer. तो बहुत बड़ा एरिया जो है उनका वो रैमसर साइट के अंदर आता है. नाउ देयर इज सम एडिशनल क्वालिफिकेशन टू डेजिग्नेट एज रैमसर साइट. ओके, कुछ पैरामीटर्स हैं जो जानने ज़रूरी हैं. नाउ दिस इज द इम्पोर्टेंट वन. ये इंपॉर्टेंट है जो हम यहाँ पे डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. सो रैमसर साइट डज नॉट नेसेसरीली इनवाइट एक्स्ट्रा इंटरनेशनल फंड्स. जरूरी नहीं है एक्स्ट्रा इंटरनेशनल फंड आ जाए. ओके, बट योर स्टेट्स एज वेल एज द सेंटर, they have to make an effort. They have to ensure that these tracts of land they are conserved, spared from encroachment. ये काम करना जरूरी है. Okay, ये काम करना जरूरी है. And definitely there is one additional benefit that if you are acquiring a status of Ramsar, then local tourism will get some boost. Local tourism को थोड़ा boost मिलता है. That okay, we will also want that हम किसी Ramsar site को देखने जाएंगे. This is how it is. Now another important thing that you have to mention here is the definition of Ramsar. अब now ये बहुत important है. देखो चीजें clear होंगी, इससे multiple prelims question बन सकते हैं. Okay, so here according to the Environment Ministry, wetlands are an area of marsh, fen, peatland or water, okay, दलदल भी हो सकता है, whether natural or artificial, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. 6 मीटर से ज़्यादा डेप्थ नहीं होनी चाहिए. ये सारे क्राइटेरिया जो है आपके रैमसर साइट के प्रोटेक्शन में आ सकते हैं. ये वेटलैंड बोल सकते हैं हम इनको. बट नाउ दिस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. किन चीजों को वेटलैंड नहीं बोलेंगे? नॉट अ वेटलैंड. ओके, नॉट अ वेटलैंड. रिवर चैनल्स, पैडी फील्ड्स, ह्यूमन मेड वाटर बॉडीज, टैंक्स specifically constructed for drinking purpose, okay, structures specifically constructed for aquaculture, salt production, recreation and irrigation purpose. So if we are constructing these type of structures, they are not considered under the definition of wetland. This is what is there as per your environment ministry. So there can be a prelims question where I will put 8 multiple, you can say, choices. मैं सारी चीजें ऐसे मेंशन कर दूंगा. Now I will be mentioning which all will include in wetland. I will be mentioning about say artificial area, temporary, this and that, etc, etc, etc. So you need to understand one thing. You need to understand one thing. ये चीज समझनी जरूरी है यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना, कि ये सारी डेफिनेशन आपको ध्यान रखनी है. Which all will not be included. So Sakshi Gupta is saying that wetlands are natural. I am saying that no, even the artificial things, they are also wetland. I am saying this is the definition as per Environment Ministry. It is saying whether natural or artificial, whether natural or artificial. Okay, this is really important. And here they are mentioning what is not to be included: river channels, paddy fields, human made water bodies and tanks which are there for drinking purpose. जो ड्रिंकिंग पर्पस के लिए है वो हम नहीं मानते, उन चीजों को वेटलैंड नहीं मानते. योर स्विमिंग पूल, इट विल नॉट बी अ वेटलैंड. ओके, दिस इज द पॉइंट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. दिस इज द डेफिनेशन एज पर एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्ट्री. इसको बहुत अच्छे से करना जरूरी है, बिकॉज this is what you have to remember for your, you can say, prelims exam. So this is what we have here. Now we'll move to the next level, next news which is there. Okay, so here there is nothing much. Third parties joining CPEC is inherently illegal. This is what India is saying. So earlier there were some news that were coming that Afghanistan may also join CPEC. Okay, or CPEC may be extended to Afghanistan or other countries. Now we were not happy with these developments because CPEC violates the Indian sovereignty. ये इंडिया की जमीन से पास होके जाता है, इंडियन सोवरेनिटी को वायलेट करता है. Pak occupied Kashmir is part of India. This is what we claim. Okay, and this is what is absolutely right as well. So this is what it was about. Does artificial include human made water bodies? Yes. Rebecca Raju, yes, it includes human made water bodies as well. There are some lakes that we constructed. Okay, तो थोड़े बहुत लेक्स हम बनाते हैं तो वो वेटलैंड में आ सकते हैं, ठीक है ना. सो लाइक वी हैव सुखना लेक इन चंडीगढ़. So other than that, we have this news. So European Union to reduce gas use by 15% over the threats of supply cuts by Russia. So winters are about to come and here the situation is going to be really very difficult. चीज़ें बाकी difficult होने वाली हैं. देखते हैं कैसे इन चीज़ों को मैनेज करेंगे. Okay, European countries के लिए specifically it's a major challenge. So Bangladesh seek 4.5 billion IMF loan as a reserve shrink. So even the Bangladesh is not in a good shape. Okay, so like other countries, like other neighboring countries, things are going tough. Okay, तो इनको भी नुकसान हुआ है. So जिन countries ने free bees दिए हैं, they all are you can say paying the price right now. सबको नुकसान हो रहा है कहीं ना कहीं. Okay, so this is what is about. They are asking for loan. There is nothing bad in seeking loan. Loan लेने में कोई बुराई नहीं है. this is how it was. So IMF cuts the outlook for global growth and flags the recession risk. So this recession risk is really very alarming, and but the India's growth projection is going to be 7.4%. Okay, so वो काफ़ी encouraging है that India will be a sort of island in terms of global डेवलपमेंट एंड इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. कहीं ना कहीं एक आइलैंड की तरह हम जो है दिखेंगे यहाँ पे. ओके, ओनली फ्यू कंट्रीज दे आर एबल टू सस्टेन एट प्रेजेंट, दैट्स द रियलिटी. सो ये कहीं ना कहीं आपको ध्यान रखना है. अदर देन दैट देर इज़ नथिंग मच, कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. ओके, सो दैट्स इट फॉर द डे देन. थैंक यू वेरी मच.